How do you fix poor balance? Falls are a major concern among seniors. So if you have poor balance, it's really important to fix it. But standing on two legs is really a pretty complex task. There's a reason why most mammals go around on four legs, and that's because maintaining your center of gravity over your base of support is a really difficult thing to do. But since we've been doing it since we were about 1 year old, we tend to take it for granted until it becomes a problem. But the question of how you fix it isn't quite so simple, because there are a lot of different systems that contribute to your balance. Both ascending or sensory systems sending information up to your brain, processing of that information, and then sending a motor output to your muscles in real time, telling you how to react in the moment in order to keep your center of gravity over your feet or over your base of support. And so we're going to go through the various systems that contribute to the sensory systems, a test of how to tell which of those systems is causing your balance problems, the processing components, and then the response components. So first of all, how do you tell which of your systems is causing your balance loss? Well, the sensory systems that contribute to your balance are your vision or your eyesight, your inner ear, and then the sensory organs in your ligaments, as well as in the bottoms of your feet to be able to feel the ground beneath you. And so there's a test called the Clinical Test of Sensory Integration and Balance, but the short term for it is called the Foam Dome Test. Now, the reason for that is there were originally 6 conditions. You were either standing with your eyes open or eyes closed, standing on foam with your eyes open or eyes closed, or having a dome over top of your head plus or minus the foam. Now, they've decreased that to 4 conditions just to make it more applicable, and you can actually do this test at home. So I'm going to show you how to do that right now. To do this test, all you really need is a pillow or a couch cushion and something to put it on where it won't slide. So you don't want to have it on the floor where it could easily slide out away from you and cause you to fall. So make sure it's on a rug or that you have some surface where it's not going to slip away from you when you do this. Now, the 4 conditions are going to be standing on the ground with eyes open, eyes closed, and then standing on the pillow, eyes open, eyes closed. So you'll start it just by standing just like this with your arms crossed across your chest and trying to stay that way for 15 seconds. Now, for most people, that's relatively easy, but for some people with really poor balance, this may be difficult. So you have all 3 systems working right now. You have your vision, you have your inner ear, and then you have the feeling of your feet on the ground. Now, next, we're going to take away one system by closing your eyes. Now, make sure you have someone around you, because if you start to sway or lose your balance and your eyes are closed, you might not know you're falling and you might not find out until you hit the floor. So make sure that if you are going to try this at home, that you have someone around for safety purposes. Now, if you notice that your sway is a little bit more when you have your eyes closed, that means you depend a lot on your vision for your balance. And so you're going to want to do things to train those other 2 systems, your inner ear and the sensation of your feet. It's important, if you can't feel the ground very well, that you make sure that your nerves are in good health, that you don't have diabetic neuropathy or some other type of neuropathy where you can't feel the ground with your feet, because that's going to make balance more difficult. Now, the next set of conditions is using a pillow. So put the pillow on the ground, and again, make sure it's on something where it's not going to slide away from you. And then you want to stand on top of the pillow. You're going to do the same 2 conditions. So eyes open first. And so now you have your vision and you also have your inner ear, but you don't have the sensation of your feet on the floor because the pillow kind of gives you some sway and you can't really feel the floor quite as well. So it makes you a little bit less steady. And so if you notice that you're having trouble like this, it means that you rely a lot on the sensation in your feet for your balance. And then the final condition is going to be standing on the pillow and closing your eyes. This is by far the most difficult one because now really all you have is your inner ear. So you've taken away the other two systems, and this tests just your vestibular system by itself without vision and without sensation. Again, make sure you have someone around because this one can be kind of difficult. So those were the 4 tests. Now the way that you treat it is that you find which conditions you have trouble with, and then you practice those conditions. Now I wouldn't go straight to the last condition if you're having trouble just eyes closed standing on the floor or eyes open standing on a pillow. Make sure you master the easier conditions before you progress to the harder conditions. So those are the sensory systems that contribute to your balance. Now those 3 systems have to go up to your brain, and then different parts of your brain, but particularly your cerebellum in the back of your brain, process all that information, and they have to relay it back out to your muscles to tell them how to react in real time to be able to balance yourself. And so there are some brain problems that can cause a problem with that processing piece. For example, Parkinson's disease, it creates a problem with that processing and creating the correct motor output. Now there's also problems with the transmission of that signal either coming up or coming down. And that can happen in people with things like spinal stenosis, either in their neck, where the signal is being pinched going down from the brain into the legs, or in their lower back, where the signal is either not getting up from their feet or not going down to the appropriate muscles in their legs. And so if you do have spinal stenosis either in your neck or in your lower back, it is important to address those. To not go too much into detail in it in this video, if you keep your chin tucked down, that maximizes the space in your spine where the spinal cord runs. And if you keep your pelvis rolled under as opposed to arch, keep a little bit flatter of a back as opposed to an arched back, that gives you more space where your spinal cord and nerves run in your lower back. And I've got another video on that topic about spinal stenosis and balance problems that I can refer you to later. But then next comes the motor output. And your balance in your legs is primarily controlled by the muscles in your hips, as well as the muscles in your feet and ankles. Your feet and ankles, they form the foundation of your body and give you the base of support. And so if you get thrown off balance a little bit, you can kind of sway at your ankles to be able to regain your balance. And so just practicing a weight shifting from forwards to backwards, starting with really small oscillations, and then making them slightly larger to where your heels come up, toes come up, heels come up, toes come up, is a good practice to do. Again, make sure you're standing somewhere safe, either by a counter where you can hang on to it, or standing in front of a couch where if you need to, you can sit down if you go too far backwards. But kind of practicing that ankle balance strategy is another way to improve the motor output in your ankles. Now, another thing that's really important is the muscle strength in your hips. And that's not quite as important when you're standing on 2 legs, but that becomes really important when you're going to stand on 1 leg. Once you take this opposite leg up off the ground, it becomes your hip's job to balance your pelvis as opposed to let it drop down like that. And so standing on 1 leg is another great balance activity that works on both your hip muscles as well as your ankle and foot muscles at the same time. Now, it is a good idea to practice that standing near something where you can hold on to a wall, hold on to a counter, hold on to a chair, or hold on to a cane or walker if you happen to have one. But do it in a condition where you can be safe. So just to summarize what you've learned in this video, there are 3 systems that contribute to the sensation of balance, and those are your inner ears, your eyes, and then the receptors in your feet as well as in your joints, telling you where your body is in space. There's a processing component that happens in your brain, in the cerebellum, that integrates all those signals and then sends out a motor response to your muscles, telling them how to work to maintain your balance. That can get disrupted in either your neck or your lower back if you have spinal stenosis, but tucking your chin and rolling your pelvis under can help. And then some balance strategies to help improve your ankle and your hip strength are swaying forwards to backwards slightly, and then standing on one leg. So hopefully you did find these tips helpful. If you do need some more help to improve your balance and you are in the St. Louis area, we'd be happy to help you out here at More for Life. And if you're watching this from somewhere else, there are some other balance tips in these videos over here. But before you go, if you found this video helpful, make sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you can get notified of our future videos. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.